You know, when I see a car like this, first thing I do is I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, would you look at this?
Yeah, well...
Would you look at that?
Yeah, there's a few more blemishes on the car.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
The car is not perfect.
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well...
What?
Is this your homework, Larry?
Ask him about the car, man.
Is this yours, Larry? Is this your homework, Larry?
Is that your car out front?
Is this your homework, Larry?
We know it's his fucking homework. Where's the fucking money, you little bro?
Boom, what's going on, guys? Johnny here. In today's episode, we are going to go over a Bitcoin chart that no one is talking about. We're going to go over the little dump we saw last night. We're going to, again, go over my DXY Bitcoin inverse correlation. I found something pretty cool that I think you guys will like. We will look at the CME gap, and I will show you guys why I think it may not get filled. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum, and the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. And again, we will dive through the list of altcoins to close it up. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Johnny. Thanks for stopping in. Before we get going today, if you guys could go ahead and like and subscribe. Also hit that ding button so you can stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from us over here at 3 Candle Collective. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, right here we have the 6-month chart, and if you look at this 6-month chart, it very much looks like a parabola. So what we have here is likely the second or third base 1 down here, and then base 3 or possibly base 4 here, and then moving up. So the way parabolas work, it's really just representative of a ton of money moving into an asset. So depending on how much money is coming in will make all the difference on how many bases there are in said parabola. So if we go ahead and overlay the halving dates, I have the legacy trend line here. December 21st, 2020, the grand conjunction of Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, the first of its kind in over 800 or almost 800 years. Very interesting stuff there. We'll talk about that in another video. But if we chart this 6-month chart, and we say that it is possibly a parabola, it is falling perfectly in line with the way that I identify typical parabolas on lower time frames. I use the Fibonacci time to let me know when each base should end and the next begin. And it looks like we are entering into the next up phase of the next base. And if we chart a Fibonacci retracement onto a parabola, this is what it will look like. So the first base usually finds support on the 236, the second on the 382, the third either on the 0.5 or the 0.618. It really depends on the move. So right now, guys, if this is what we're looking at, you know, over a 6-month time frame, and say we just follow this legacy trend line all the way to January 1st, 2028, that gives us a Bitcoin price of $2,803,856.25. That's in 8 years. Yeah, well, 7 years. That's incredible. And if we just follow this little trend line up to the next halving date, which is in 2024, in 4 years, that gives us a Bitcoin price of $124,194.57. Now, the thing is, if you look at previous price action, these candles will go up pretty far, up over the resistance, flip support, come back down, retest that RS flip, and then move into the next leg of the base. So, or the parabola, excuse me. So here you can see somewhere right around the halving date or the fib time, it took off into the next leg up. And then we came up, crossed over the 382, came back, retested this, a bullish confirmation, letting us know that this is now in fact support, former resistance, and now we are moving back up to the 0.5. So what I'm thinking of is we'll get up here past the 0.5, right around $29,696. I think we'll shoot past that, you know, and then at some point we will come back and retest this and then move up to the 618 before having number 4 in 2024. And that will put us up around a $277,000 or 2 million. Wait, no, sorry, $277,766.99 Bitcoin by the 1st of January 2024. Pretty interesting stuff. And I mean, if you guys look and see, if we continue to get legs in this parabola and we go all the way till halving number 5, that puts us right around the 1. So usually how a parabola would work is you'd get bases all the way up to a 1, and then you get your blow off top up to a 1272 or a 1618, and then you get a retracement all the way down to the 618. But we'll see. That's a long time from now. Hopefully we'll still be around to enjoy the investments we are all making now. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up our position we were in last night. So last night, again, after this massive sell-off, we started to recover back to the upside. We got back into one of these channels here. So if you take a trend line and draw a channel from here to here, it looks like we did make it back up in there. But then we got a massive sell-off right after briefly making a brand new all-time high, which, guys, I don't really like it. I mean, I really don't like it. But I don't hate it. I guess it's better than no all-time high. So 19,905.14 on Bitstamp. So yeah, we got the move up here, and then we just dumped, and we dumped hard, but we bounced off this yearly R3 pretty hard, and it seems to be maintaining support there right now. Now, if we do break through this R3, you could probably expect to move all the way down to 17, low 17, 17,217, or, you know, we could move back down here to the 15.8 level, and then if we fall below that, I really do not see Bitcoin's price falling below 13,390, but it is possible. So this was the trade we were in last night. So if I remove these trend lines, where are we at here? Bam. And this one here, excuse the messy chart. So we had this recovery. Again, this is the hour chart. I use Heikin-Ashi candles. Let's go ahead and get rid of that trend line. So this is where we were at here. I believed or thought that we were in some sort of contracting triangle, or even possibly a bull flag at the top of this pretty strong bullish move here. We did briefly break out of the overhead resistance here, only to reach an all-time new high and then have a massive sell-off where we came all the way down to $18,089. A move that is, wow, almost 10%. That's incredible. So there must have been a lot of money coming in and out of Bitcoin at that time. We'll definitely take a look at the USDT market cap and see what it was doing through this time frame that Bitcoin was just selling off massively. So honestly, if we take a look at the 15-minute chart, you can tell once we popped out of here, we bought right here. We were in trade. We were in profit. Once Bitcoin broke above this Gann resistance here, I moved stop loss up here, so I missed out on you know, a pretty decent sizable amount of money. I was short 20x, or not short, excuse me, long 20x, not much leverage. We broke out here, finished right about 35-40% profit, very small amount, because you know, I just wanted to be in there in case we were moving further up. But took profit, sold there, and then moved down. Wasn't sure where it was going to go or how far it was going to stop, so I'm still waiting to get into a position here to find out more or less what is going on. So what can we expect out of Bitcoin moving forward? So let's go ahead and take a look back at this high time frame chart here. Let's go to the weekly chart, and we'll zoom out just a bit. Now what we have here is obviously a very beautiful and bullish double bottom. Now, if we take a look, so I use Heikin-Ashi candles for a number of reasons. One of those reasons is the same reason I use the VPVR, to let me know at what price levels are receiving the most buy and sell volume in that candle. So if we go to where we made the all-time high back on 11 December 2017, and we draw a 0-degree trend line, just our basic support and resistance, that, ladies and gentlemen, is probably or likely where we are going to come down to if Bitcoin happens to get a correction here. So, you know, since we've broken across this former resistance, now flip support, a move back down to confirm this RS flip would be extremely bullish. Now, I don't assume there's any reason why this uptrend will not continue. There's still a ton of money coming in. And there's still a ton of volume, and I'll get more into volume here very soon. Yeah, just to let you know why I think that we may or may not fill the CME gaps, and why some of them are still open, and why it's really not as much of a big deal as it once was. Okay, so this is where we're at in the weekly chart. If we go ahead and zoom into the daily, actually let's go back to the weekly here and see where our averages are at. So we have our EMAs here. So on the weekly, we've got our 8, 13, 21, 55, and 200. All in a nice row here. I moved down to actually this legacy trend line. To just bounce off of this again is always a possibility. It happens right now to line up with the 21 weekly EMA, but a move further down would actually negate this bull run, but I do not see it coming down and doing that anytime soon. I moved down to test this top trend line of this weekly resistance. That will put us at 17,328. Now, if we go back to the other chart here and look at our trade setups, that's where I have, oops, lock your chart, Johnny. That's where I have our aggressive entry sitting right here. So I do have a buy order sitting right here at 17,217 and another one right here at 17,675, hoping to catch a bounce on this move up. I think once we bounce off that top trend line of that weekly chart, I really think that we will get a nice strong move to the upside. So let's move into this. So a couple of videos ago, excuse me, I talked about the inverse correlation study I did on the DXY, GBTC, and BTC, saying that for every 2% move up, we get about a 10% move down out of Bitcoin and GBTC. For every 1% move down, we get about a 15% move out of Bitcoin and GBTC. So if we take a look at the DXY 15-minute chart, you can see that every time Bitcoin sells off, or every time the dollar drops in value, Bitcoin happens to go up. But then when Bitcoin sells off, that money has to be flowing somewhere. This is kind of funny. So you see when Bitcoin sells off, you see the dollar gets these little bounces as long as Bitcoin stays in like a semi, decent range here. But then when Bitcoin pumps or Bitcoin dumps hard, look at this pump in the DXY we got. I mean, this lines up perfectly. And then the dollar bounces here. We got a nice little corrective wave as we moved up here with Bitcoin. And then as Bitcoin continued to trend higher after that sell-off we got, you see the dollar just moving parabolically to the downside on this 15-minute chart. And every time the dollar gets a bounce, Bitcoin gets a sell-off. So we see the dollar moves down pretty heavily. We get a nice move to the upside out of Bitcoin. And then look what's going on right here right now. So this is the DXY 15-minute chart. We came down, bounced off my first support here that I had at 91,168 on the index, and we're bouncing off. And what do you know? We are getting a nice heavy correction out of Bitcoin. Okay, so if we take a look again at our trade plan here, we have our entry down here at 17,227. That's our most aggressively low entry here. And let's take a look at, so on the left I have Bitcoin spot price through Bitstamp, and on the right I have the Bitcoin CME futures. Now this is a 4-hour chart. This is showing a bit of a more extended gap. And I also have a fixed range volume profile on the price range where the gap exists. So if we look here, they're very similar, but you also see much more sell pressure selling on the CME chart. But if you look right before the CME closed for the weekend, after they accepted the last trade, and then the settlements, the physical settlements were actually on this last Monday, you see that over this gap, look at all of this buying volume that came in over the weekend when the CME shut down. So that's a lot of white or green, doesn't matter. I mean, whatever color you paint your volume candles, but green on my chart shows that volume is going up. And then if we look at the spot price over this period of time, we do have some buying volume, but not nearly as much as we do here on the CME chart. So trying to get an idea if we'll really come down and fill this gap. Now it does add a little confluence to come down to the entry that I suggested in this first chart. meaning we would come down and close the gap, but we might not come down and completely close the gap, which makes a lot of sense because it really depends on where, what price Bitcoin is lacking volume, I think. I don't know. And then here too, if you look at the CME chart and you take these anchored VWAPs, you can take an anchored VWAP from each impulse move up. It gives you kind of nice bouncing points. So you came down here, we almost tested this one. It kind of lets you know where to draw your Fibonacci extension tool if you're looking for near-term targets. But yeah, so I definitely see Bitcoin possibly coming down, closing up most of this gap, hitting that 17.2 entry area, and then continuing to the downside. Again, that also gives us confluence with the weekly chart that we have. The weekly chart here with this trend line from the previous all-time high where the majority of the volume closed. That puts us right at 17,175. That would, for the most part, close that open CME gap. So as soon as Bitcoin is finished with this correction, it's going to be all systems go, guys. Okay, Bitcoin dominance. We still are in this descending broadening wedge on the daily chart. It looks like I moved the trend line up here. It definitely still fits. It looks like we got rejected at this upper trend line. After, a pretty decent move up, it looks to be forming a diamond top right now. Now, if we take the measured move, a quick and easy way to do a measured move for a diamond top is if you go from the top of the price action. Oh, wrong fib tool. Let's use the trend-based fib extension down to the bottom, and then however far up the move up goes. So if we come up here in this ascending triangle, that would be where we would go down to our 1. So the 1 then would be the measured move for the diamond top pattern, which means Bitcoin may get a bounce right here at the 1. But let's go ahead and take an arrow just to show you guys that it does work that way. So come out there and we say Bitcoin drops there, boom, right down to the 1. So your Fibonacci extension tool will definitely help you with measured moves if you are having trouble determining where to take your measured move from. So we should see dominance come back up, maybe depending on where it falls out of this possible bearish diamond top. We still have a little bit of ways to go to confirm this possible ascending triangle, but diamond top is defined as a broadening structure leading into some sort of triangle, typically a ascending triangle. Now these can be bullish or bearish depending on the asset you are looking at. They're actually, their breakout probabilities are just about the same. Now, because this is a market cap dominance calculation, these probabilities will likely change or not be as accurate. But if we take a look at Bukalski's Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, if you run through this, we can, but it definitely fits some of these ideas. Diamond top, we could see a pullback or a throw. Well, if we see a breakout with a pullback or a throwback and then a continuation, it would be a bullish diamond top. But sometimes, these patterns like to break bearish. They're typically a bearish pattern, but these diamond tops usually follow by a diamond bottom, which is a bullish reversal pattern. So looking at Bitcoin dominance, we are due for a move to the downside here in the near future. And that definitely means that it's going to be altcoins' turn to run. So first, let's take at the main guy, altcoin number 1, Mr. or Mrs. Ethereum. Ethereum, again, we are in some sort of a topping pattern here. We have this crazy whipsaw pattern here. These usually precede some sort of large move. This just signifies a ton of money coming out, then coming back in, and price typically either resumes the trend that it's in, or we do see some sort of reversal here. Now, if we try to kind of identify what's going on, let's go to a normal chart. This is a 15-minute chart. Let's go ahead and draw a trend line here. Last night I was in a trade. Let's go ahead and tell you about the trade I was in last night. So as I was with Bitcoin, I identified this ascending triangle in the Ethereum price. I entered right here. We did get the breakout. We did shoot up. We met my T1 where I took profit right at 628 and actually shot up a little bit beyond that last night, and then followed Bitcoin to the downside right as Ethereum 2.0 became an official official thing right around midnight. So that's crazy. But you can see we've got Ethereum pushing right now. This is a 15-minute chart, looking to close a candle on the other side of this resistance. If it can, then there's a very good potential that we have, or a good possibility that we have a double bottom going on, a possible Adam and Eve where you get this V-bottom recovery into a nice rounded bottom before again it continues to move to the upside. A good place to look here for a neckline of this double bottom would be the point of control, which is sitting right at $611. So buying a volume confirmed breakout above that level would be a great move. We could see prices near 652, and then I have even higher targets at 728, and then the yearly R4 at 739. So Ethereum's looking mega bullish. I mean, if we just remove these drawings and just take a peek at the weekly chart and just get really excited about Ethereum. I mean, damn, look at that. That's so beautiful. That is beautiful. That is a nice Adam and Eve double bottom. I mean, we're going to see this as fractals throughout its trajectory to the upside. Came up, got rejected nice here at the yearly R1, but pushed through. And then we made it all the way up to the R2. Now, there is a possibility that we can just move through the R2, but we should come down and retest this, confirming the resistance flip support. So this would be a bullish confirmation if we come down to the 560, 564 area and then continue to the upside, putting us right there at the yearly R3 at 736, 732. So definitely looking pretty strong for Ethereum. If we take a Fibonacci extension tool, trend-based Fib extension from the low back in March, up to where we are now, and then pull down to a possible correction down either to the R1 or R2. We'll say if it comes down to the R2, if it comes all the way down to 465, our 618 is right at 1501. But if it comes down to the R2 to confirm the new support, we can look for a 618 right at 1914. So we're going to see, you know, new all-time highs out of Ethereum. If we come all the way up to the 1, which we likely will, that'll be $3,248.78. Now, we probably will not see these prices until late 21 or 2022, but it is nice to have a little hopium after a dump. All right, let's take a look at a few altcoins now with the dominance kind of in a spot right now. We could be looking to accumulate a few, and one of them I definitely want to talk about is KSM. KSM is looking extremely bullish. Again, this is a daily chart. Does not look like we're going to come down and get this retest here of the 2,318 sat level. We could continue back up here up to this 3793 sat level. So KSM is looking mega bullish. Just a ton of green volume candles on top of green Heikin-Ashi candles over the past couple of days. So that is definitely one to keep your eye on. Polkadot, again, one of my favorite projects. This thing came back in the falling wedge, looking to get a bounce right here, right around 224, 437 sats. Again, I do all my altcoin TA in Bitcoin prices. So this is definitely going to break out. When it does, it's going to bring some awesome gains, and not many coins are going to really do that against Bitcoin this alt season. Let's take a look at SXP BTC, just kind of bouncing and dancing down here around on my aggressive buy. What I think I'm going to do, just because I don't really like the way this is looking, I'm just going to let it kind of play out for a little bit longer, see exactly when. It looks like we did break out, so we are starting to move sideways, little consolidation before I move to the upside. Taking a look at the volume too, you know, whales are definitely accumulating SXP. If you look at the order book on Binance, you see huge orders coming through. I really don't see the price moving in response to these huge orders, but I definitely see SXP being one of the top performers this next altcoin season. We'll take a look at Band really quick. Band is definitely one that should do some damage here over the next alt season. We did pop out. We're again dancing on my aggressive buy. We could see moves all the way up here to my T1, which is at 133,559 satoshis, an overall increase of about 323% where it's at right now. Last one, guys, we will go over today is Chainlink. Again, Chainlink is in this falling wedge, which is a bullish reversal pattern. I do see Chainlink getting the bounce here at 58,071 sats. before moving up. First target I have at 189.58%, right here at 169,787 Satoshis. But if you are a breakout trader and you'd like to play this trade safe, you definitely want to buy a breakout above this level right here, which is right at 97,826 Satoshis. Good job, guys. Thanks for dropping in today. Again, if you can go ahead and like and subscribe, and then that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. So would I. That's it. Thanks a bunch for dropping in today, guys. I love each and every one of you. Happy
Space Shuttle
trading,
Discovery,
and I will see you
taking
all
the space
tomorrow.
station to full power for full science.
This is Mission Control Houston.
Discovery roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery.
Discovery's roll maneuver is complete. It is now in a heads down position on track.